A long range shot from Anelsa.
He's got it!
Oh, what a kick! He got a kick! Anelsa has nailed it!
Oh, man, a ball! Gutho!
What a talent! He dragged him!
He was a weak-gutted dog as a kid, and he hasn't changed now. A weak-gutted dog person now.
He's got it! He's given it! Glasshow's got it! To guy's birthday! Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Australian Sporting Cartel Podcast. I'm joined here with the Parmigiana Playboy himself. How you going?
Lux, I am sensational. It's been a very good week on my end.
Oh yeah, keeping yourself busy. It's the way to do it.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of, just in the downtime, you know, sort of after work, the military films across all platforms.
Which film is it this time?
So Extraction with
Chris Hemsworth.
Australian Thor. Chris Hemsworth. Fuck, it was a good movie. He just fucked up half of the subcontinent with one silenced M16, and yeah, it was cool.
That's all it is.
It was cool.
Just one M16 and a chiseled jawline.
Yeah, it was weird. Like the movie started in, I think it was India, and so I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. You know, obviously I'm an Australian. We've got the Indian Test summer coming up, so I'm thinking
Very
kill
relevant.
them all, like fuck all of them, like, you know, whatever. Really like not another decade of dominance from them, and some drug dealer's kid gets kidnapped or some shit. Anyway, next thing it cuts to Australia, the Kimberley, and I was like, what do we got here?
Hello?
What do we got here?
Still call Australia home, baby.
And not to spoil anything, it's been out for, I don't know, half a decade, but Hemsworth is on top of this rock and he just fucking yeets himself off the top, and he's like holding his breath under the water. I'm like, this guy's an absolute fucking stallion.
Such an alpha.
Him and Hugh Jackman are the reason why people fear Australia but love it at the same time.
Hugh Jackman has the aura of someone that would just fuck you up, but he's got the attitude of he's a complete gentleman. Yeah. He's such a fucking nice guy.
Yeah.
That's why everyone loves him so much, because he portrays these badass characters. He's fucking Wolverine, man. He's got claws coming out of his hands, but
he's sick.
Yeah. He would definitely offer you a beer. He would shout the first round for sure.
I think so. He'd be the kind of guy where if you just, you know, you're at the bar and like he was in front of you.
Yeah.
And like, or you were in front of him, sorry. And like the bartender went to him first. He'd be like, no, old mate was first. Like that's who Hugh Jackman is.
If you've got a Mount Rushmore of Australian actors, who the fuck are you picking? Hugh Jackman and Chris, they're up there for sure. They're on there. Maybe Eric Banner. He's a St Kilda fan. He's a big fan of St Kilda.
It's an interesting one. I know there's a lot of Aussies that are like killing it at the moment over in the States, but you don't know they're Aussie.
Yeah. Like Jacob Elordi.
Yeah. Well, he's a fuckwit.
I didn't even...
Like, you know...
He's from Brisbane. So.
I mean, you know, he walks into the Club Valley Hotel and thinks he owns the place. Fucking rookie move, champ. Like, but no, I honestly, man, like, I'd have Chris Hemsworth. I'd have fucking Hugh Jackman. Bias here, but Heath Ledger. I think.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I just think on The Dark Knight alone, he's a fucking like that. It was the cinematic masterpiece.
One of the best performances from one of the best films of all time. That was Heath Ledger at his prime. In 2007, 2008, he was dead. Brokeback.
What kind of flex is it? And like, genuinely, you know, we've obviously touched on mental health and things on previous episodes and whatnot, but like, this guy got so into that role, it killed him.
You'd have to
played a significant part in the fact that he died so young.
Is that just dedication to the craft, or is it a little bit over the top? Because I'm an actor. Look, I do acting. I've done acting for a long time, and I can tell you.
Tell us about your next role, mate.
No comment on that front. Moving away from
wrong side of history, champ.
If you want context, there's a trench, there's a gun. Figure it out yourself.
Fan of Hugo Boss or Calvin Klein clothing.
Getting back on track. Yeah, acting is tough. It does take a big physical and mental toll, and you can see some actors what they do to sort of transform for different roles. I think Christian Bale's done it like 6 times. He's gone from incredibly skinny from I think it was The Machinist. And then he goes and puts on like he's like 90 kilos, just pure muscle in the Dark Knight.
He was so good. Like, and I'm a big fan of superhero movies, but I think he was the only person that I could actually believe is Bruce Wayne. Like Ben Affleck, I don't care how in shape you got and your touch on things. Like, you were not Batman, bro. Fuck off. Whoever the new guy is now, okay, he's
Robert
dark
Pattinson.
and mysterious and whatever. I didn't mind the Batman, but you believed that Christian Bale was Bruce Wayne. Like, he actually had that Bruce Wayne swagger. Just like Downey Jr., like, I can't separate him not
From
being
Iron
Tony
Man.
Stark. Like,
Yeah.
He's actually Tony Stark for me.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, I don't know about the fourth man. I'd probably...
Margot, she's really fucking firing away out there.
She's killing it.
Gotta love Margot.
If I was going to pick like an actress, a female, it'd be down to 2.
Nikki?
Oh, 100%. She's proper good. Or Sharon Strzelecki.
Sharon Strzelecki.
Magda Szubanski.
Magda Szubanski.
She is...
Oh, she's the GOAT.
She's a
undisputed GOAT.
it would be my absolute, like... Because I'm a massive fan of comedy, right?
Fuck yeah.
It would be like my absolute bucket list level item if I could one day find myself in a position to either be interviewing her or just having a conversation, because she's like, yeah, she's one of my favorite Aussies.
She's an icon of the Australian screen. That's what she is.
She's precisely what's good about Australia and people.
Yeah.
She's very genuine. She like
happy-go-lucky.
Benefit of the
easy
doubt.
Going.
Bit of a, particularly Sharon, like bit of a...
She's very rambunctious.
Very docile at times.
Yeah.
Very innocent. No malicious intent. Like, isn't going to sit there and go, how can I fuck someone's day up? Or always sees the good in things. And she's fucking hilarious. So, yeah, anyways. Not that we're here to talk about acting and shit.
Well, I'm sure you guys enjoyed that little spiel for 6 minutes.
Watch Extraction.
Yeah, so I'll add that to my list of movies. It's on Netflix, by the way, if you want to go check it out. I think it might be on something else. Or you can just pirate it like a normal fucking person.
Don't do that.
Don't pirate.
Do not pirate. We do not.
No, well, I mean...
We do not approve of piracy.
I mean, if you're downloading this podcast, I approve of that. But yeah, I agree. Don't do what I do, because that's illegal and wrong morally. But you know what isn't morally wrong? Contracts.
Oi, oi.
Here we go. We're here to talk about contracts in the NRL. Who is off, who is on, who's being signed. The merry-go-round. It's essentially a big merry-go-round because there's a fuck ton of information being thrown out online. A lot of reports coming in from the media, this and that. Just a bit of Chinese whispers. So let's go and talk. We have addressed the elephant in the room. It's the Ben Hunt situation. We talked about it so much, I think it's becoming a little bit redundant and it's becoming saturated. And I'm sick and tired of talking about it. I want to talk about Hunt's replacement and Clint Gutherson joining the St. George Illawarra Dragons, which I believe...
Tabled offer, 2.5
Table
million
offer.
Over 3 years, I think. I imagine it's not...
How much was it?
$2.5 million.
Over 3 years.
Well, it's over a number of years. I don't imagine it's 2. I think Dragons have better cap than that, so I'm thinking 3, if not 4.
Well, they just got Val. He would chew up a little bit of the cap, but but they're just taking Ben Hunt out of the equation. That frees up a lot of cap space.
That million, was he on $1 million flat, or was he on a little bit more?
I think $1 million and no, I think 2022. I think he was on $1.2 million. I think he was the highest paid player. I think he was the second highest paid player behind DCE.
Okay,
and now I think over the course,
Pong is on the biggest.
Pong is now like 1.6 or 1.5. And now he's on the steady decline. He's getting a little bit older. Market value is decreasing. But that still doesn't mean that he's worth a shit ton of money. And anyone that would be wanting to sign him, I think it's a great bargain. I think, you're looking for a really valuable, experienced halfback. And there's a fuckload of teams that will want that right now.
As a Roosters fan, and I'd hate to do this, right? Because it's already done. But imagine if there's some wheeling and dealing happening, because
Politis slips the little paper bags under the...
It's not even that. It was said with Walker's injury and the fact that Sian and Smith or Connor Watson, but Watson's far better at 9. what if we could somehow go, you know what, Chad, we signed you for a year and we had every intention of using you, but how would you like to link back up with old Flannel at the Dragons? So we move him off before he's even worn the tricolours. He links back up with a guy you want a premiership with. We get Ben Hunt instead. That would make sense.
Swap deal. Townsend for Hunt.
I mean, you know, obviously there's relocation and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
He was up north.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that if the opportunity was there, I mean, I don't know. Do they hate each other? I don't think they do.
I don't think there's any animosity. I don't believe so. I remember Chad was saying how much he admired Flano when he was at the Sharks because he really developed into such an elite playmaker for his time. For what he was and what the Sharks were going through, Flano steadied the ship and he allowed Chad to feel comfortable.
He complimented all their wild dogs like Fafita and
Barber and Gallen.
Yeah.
All crazy. What a crazy kooky bunch that was. And Chad Townsend, he was like the mediator. He's a very stable halfback. And I feel like, it's, moving from the Sharks to St. George, bit of a rivalry there. I'm not 100% sure how he feels about it. I know he's a Sharks boy growing up. He's all around that. It's tough to think because there's so many options.
There's not many people available right away. Like Lachlan Galvin was rumoured. But I think you'd be licking your lips having him and Luai in the halves. Right, surely.
You know who I read was a potential to move to St. George to replace Ben Hunt? Brodie Croft from the Super League. Very interesting. I wonder, on a market scale, in terms of value, where do you think Croft is at the moment? I know he was doing quite well in the Super League. He left the NRL in sort of unfair circumstances, kind of limped out with the Broncos in that really fucking god-awful 2020 season, went to the Super League, and I think he's trying to repurpose his game. I think he won the Man of Steel. I'd have to fact-check that. Not 100% sure.
Because if so, he's walking the exact shoes that Jackson Hastings did.
Yes. And wouldn't it just be a fantastic redemption story? Brodie Croft had a lot of potential. When he was at Melbourne, came through as that development player, the new age Cooper Cronk. He was touted as the next Cronk. Boy from Queensland, moved to the Storm system, enabled himself to play with some of the big guys, went to Brisbane to try and flourish on his own, didn't exactly come off that well. Went to the Super League, and now it's all about finding another purpose to his game and becoming that elite level halfback that I think he can be. So it's an option, and this is just pending on whether he does want to come back to the NRL, whether he's ready for another, I guess.
What happened to Talatau Amone? I know he got deregistered.
Yeah.
But I heard there was some attempts, so he was in a position where he could re-register in the districts and the juniors and things, and I don't know if he's got another shot. I mean, people get second chances. Ben Barber got one. Just probably
Todd Carney had about 1 billion. He must have had 1,000.
Mitchell Pearce had a couple. I mean, they didn't do what old mate did, but my thought would be, well, you know Shane loves Kyle. And he's, I don't know if nepotism's fair, but if there's a Flanagan at the top, there's always going to be a Flanagan in the spine. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So why don't you just fucking go all in, move Kyle to 7, a Monet to 6. Where's Gutherson play? Is he going to fullback? Because if he goes to fullback, what do you do with Tyrell
what do you do, Sloan? Sloan, I feel like because he's so young and he's still got a lot more years to develop into a really good fullback. We've seen glimpses. He's got the pace. He's got a bit of skill. He's got reliability in the defensive line. He's got that. But do you think Flanagan sees him as a long-term option? He could easily just go for the get out of jail. Just put Gutherson there. He's got experience. Regardless that he's aging out, he's still a reliable fullback. He's still good to be there, but he could look
knees and he's a bit slower. Yeah. So maybe just put him in the middle. You play him at lock.
I'm at centre.
Oh,
centre. I mean, I know they've had issues with Sully. Do they push Sully out? Is Sully a back rower now?
Bird's gone.
Yeah.
I could see Gutherson slotting into the centres, but I mean, I don't know. I think he plays 6.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah. Look, it's real. It's just really tough. There's a lot of options right now, and we still don't know. It's the off season. There's a lot of speculation about how teams are going to line up. We're not 100% sure yet, but look, it is
some movement.
Has Gutherson done enough through his career that you can see him being a reliable 6 option?
No.
So why would he play 6?
Because Shane Flanagan's the coach.
I'm
a Shane Flanagan guy. I think he's brilliant.
You're the Shane Flanagan stan.
Look what he did with the Dragons.
I love it.
Like, he took them from like, okay, they're going to get the spoon. And he played players that you were like, what? Like, you look at their forward pack, their best forward for the year was probably Jaden Sewer, but Eisenhuth, right? Like,
yeah. Really underrated year.
Yeah. Like, just, but on paper, you've got Jack DeBellin, Molo's some big poly guys like Eisenhuth was probably the consistent, like, okay, this guy done really, really well.
Yeah.
That's Shane Flanagan's magic. You look at the way that they played against, I mean, they got smashed by Penrith in one round, but they fucking beat Melbourne.
There's a beat Penrith as well. I know Origin stars are out, but they still beat them. They beat Melbourne. They beat a few top 8 teams.
Now, season 2023, they weren't very good, were they?
Yeah, they weren't very good. They were pretty shocking.
In 1 year with minimal cap, like this was his year where it's like, okay, this year is a write-off. We're going to give you time to put your magic on it. They nearly made the 8.
They probably could have.
They should have.
They should have made the 8. If they hadn't blown, like, there were a few games towards the end of the season where they well and truly blew it. It was the Raiders game and then the Parramatta game, which they almost fucking. That was crazy. You cannot concede 44 points in the first half and expect to win. I know that they didn't win that game, but they were very close. Like, that was almost one of the greatest comebacks I'd ever seen.
And it was hysterical because Parramatta just off the Penrith kerfuffle.
Someone needs to figure out the defensive strategies of that club because they are fucked.
I think with a player like Clint Gutherson, whatever number he wears, wherever he plays, I think Shane Flanagan is going to work wonders with him.
Pepsi Jesus, I hope you're right. I fucking hope you're right because, look, this is a man that did take... He took one look at Zach Lomax. He went,
on the wing,
you're not a centre. Fuck off. Get on the wing, champ. There you go. Hey, how you going? Played in Origin. Fucking awesome. With Dally M, almost Dally M Winger of the Year. Fucking legend.
Yeah.
Loved him.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, like, pretty good in Origin too, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was. Well, he did win Winger of the Year, didn't he?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did.
It's the off-season now.
Fuck, who the fuck? I've forgotten everything, haven't I? Who was in the grand final? Who won? No idea.
Game of the century. No, man, I'm very interested. I mean, the Dragons are dominating the headlines because of Gutherson and because of Ben Hunt, but I'm one of those people. I don't have to have everything like mapped out. I like to just sometimes watch things unfold. Like
passive watcher. I like it.
I thought, like, how can you call yourself King Gutho, King of the West, never fucking win anything? And I don't know if he labelled that himself, but like
No, it was Andrew.
Hold on.
I know who labelled it.
It
was Andrew Johns. He scored a couple tries and he called him the King of Parramatta.
He also said Luke Brooks was a shoe-in for the Dally.
He said Luke Brooks was...
The guy said some absolutely wild things, and they still give him a microphone, Channel 9. I fucking love him dearly.
He's the greatest, but fuck, dude.
Here's the thing.
He has some shit takes.
The King of the West, who lives in the North and is now playing at the South. Like, make up your fucking mind, would you? Like,
we know who the real King of the West is.
Seriously.
Come on.
Like, it's... I didn't think he'd go to the Dragons. I thought he'd go to a team that... Because here's the thing, like, when Clint Gutherson debuted, man, I really liked him. I liked him so much that, like, when Jared Hayne was coming back in and
sniffing around,
like, you know, I was like, I don't want him to come back to the Eels. I want Gutho at number 1, and, you know, he signed at the Titans, whatever.
Yep.
But, like, there was a point where, like, he was really good, and I don't know why, man. Maybe it's just the way the game changed or whatever, but it kind of just felt like he was another guy there that was more overrated than fairly rated. I mean,
I think that
I just want to finish that thought.
Yep.
I think in my eyes, he fell victim for me to like not the curse of Parramatta, but every year for the last fucking 5 years, it's like Brad Arthur fighting for his job. Brad Arthur fighting for his job. I mean, eventually they sacked him.
Yep.
But I think he was fighting for his job pretty much from COVID, and he still got a grand final, another one out of there. I feel like for me, maybe Gutherson just came into that mold. It's like, oh, well, he's not a top 10 fullback because
I think he worked quite well in the Parramatta system. And that's the thing. If you're a club now and if you're having significant fullback issues, if there's any club out there that desperately needs it, it's probably Cronulla, isn't it? It's either Cronulla or I was going to say South Sydney, but no, they got young Jai Gray coming through. And he's fucking great. Yeah. You just shift Latrell to centre where he belongs. Yes. He's been a centre his whole
premiership
fucking career.
2-time
premiership. Scored a try in a grand. Like, this is ridiculous. But now with the old mate coming back in, the Holy Father coming back to South Sydney, there might be some changes in there. Little Humphreys is coming through. That's what South Sydney have done now. They're starting to... They're coming back. I think they will make the 8 this year, purely on the fact that there's an effect of when Wayne Bennett comes to the club. It's a culture thing. He knows the culture of clubs and he's able to justify his actions. And he's able to put players in reliable positions and he allows them to flourish at their own speed. This is something that South Sydney desperately needs, as this year they were completely disjointed and they didn't play to their full potential. You saw glimpses. There were glimpses of work there.
They had a little run. They were on a sausage roll for a few weeks.
They could have made the finals if they'd won,
Latrell didn't get injured. To me, that's one of the bigger what ifs for this season. Like
100%.
Not that it would have. They probably would have come 7th or 8th and probably go out in the first week. It is what it is. But it just would have been interesting to see like how much of a run can they go on, because the Roosters went on one last year. They were written off by all accounts. They made the 8. They got through to the second week. It was what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting, but yeah, I think because like, do I think Clint Gutherson career-wise is a better fullback than Tyrell Sloan? Yes. Do I think he's a better fullback right now? Do I think it makes sense for the future long-term if I'm Shane Flanagan trying to build a top 8 team and go further than what I did this year? No, you got to stick with Sloan.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why I'm interested to see it.
Well, this is where opinion comes in, and this is where the lovely viewers, and that's why footy is so subjective.
Maybe there should be a little poll attached to this episode.
Yeah.
Where do you think Gutherson should play? Because I'm actually genuinely interested.
Leave a crown emoji down if you think Gutherson.
Please don't.
No emojis. Just straight up. We're not part of that shit. Just leave your fucking great opinion. Leave your lovely opinion down.
We're not affiliated with anyone. We just like talking a bit of smack, but I'd much rather hear Dan Ganane yell goodbye than anything that Channel 9 spew out on the footy.
Ray Hadley just retired from commentary.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, see ya.
It's a great day. Great day to be a rugby league fan. I used to fucking hated those Friday night games when he was on. Sorry, Ray. I really didn't. I just thought that you didn't really compliment Rabs very well. You weren't a good...
Yeah, like
you weren't a good substitution.
You weren't even the best guy called Ray in the commentary booth.
You're not going to have that on a plaque. Second best Ray to commentate the game.
I think there should be as a tribute, everyone should over the next season at some point do their best Rabs impersonation.
Oh, 100%.
Watching a game of footy or watching the swimming.
Oh, those were the days. The Olympics, the Rabs Olympics, different source. It was such a fucking honor, and it's something I do want to touch on one day. Voices of sport, what is the best sound in sport? A lot of people have been doing that right now. What is the best fucking sound in sport? For me, I know this is so fucking niche. This is such a little niche one. So go. You're gonna people, if you know, you know. If you know your rugby league, back in the day, in 2011, there was a little sound that happened after someone scored a try, and it was on the Channel 9 broadcast, and it was just a little like. I don't do it justice. It's not fair. I can't fucking say it, but it was just that little... And it just... That lives rent-free in my head every fucking day. And I'll never forget it. I don't think you know what I'm talking about. It was
I have
like...
no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Not
Absolutely
the
no idea.
best. I'm not a Soundbot 3000, but...
2011 was one of the years where I lost more brain cells than I took in. I was 18.
Didn't we all?
Freshie.
I was 12.
Out on the town.
It's crazy.
So,
that is crazy.
Look, for me, the first thing that comes to mind is Bruce Buffer in a jacket of absolute style.
Yes.
Main event, world title fight, screaming, it's time.
It's on.
I've never been more
erect.
amped than
All that.
when I hear that. But, yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
I think Ray Warren, in terms of Australian commentary,
Yeah.
I know we've done a Mount Rushmore. If we had to do another Mount Rushmore of Australian commentators, I'd have Ray Warren, Richie Beno,
I was going to say Tony Greig.
Bruce McAvaney, and
That's not like Howie or anything.
maybe if it was the biggest
hard.
tools in...
Look, if you're an AFL fan, there's a few there who are iconic. But yeah, no, I'd also say one of the greatest sounds in sports is hearing the stumps get rattled. Just
yeah.
that is, it's pure.
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Because of what he did, Mark Tubby Taylor, when he called Peter Siddle's hat trick, best commentary moment in Australian sporting history.
That was
bar none.
so fucking good.
Who's giving him?
That's the great.
Peter Siddle's got a hat trick on his birthday.
Everyone fucking remembers where they were that day. Everyone.
I was in a fucking random. This is so bad. I was in a random unit in Rainbow Beach because it was schoolies.
Where the fuck is that?
Oh, it's the backwoods of Queensland, and everyone who knows anything about schoolies in Australia goes to the Gold Coast.
Fucking disgrace.
Whatever reason, me and my friends were like, we don't want to do that. We want to go somewhere where we can actually smash the beers, tickle a Bundy bear, and actually enjoy
Have a good time.
the end of school. And I think, I don't know, someone threw a dart at a board or something, and we just randomly ended up there. But like, mate, we were balls deep in schoolies, and it was like...
You weren't pulling out. You were real. You were deep in there.
Just in the afternoon, eh? Like, I think it was maybe after the lunch break, and like it was the afternoon because we started drinking at that point.
What year was it? Yeah. Yeah. It was 2010, wasn't it? 2010.
Yeah.
Holy
and man,
fuck.
The first one, we're just like, fuck yeah. The second one,
Because they got Cook with his first one.
Yeah.
It's hard to get Cook out.
Yeah.
He played in sensationally that series. And yeah, he gets the first one. You're like, fucking all right. We're back in it. We're back in the game.
yeah,
Bang.
brilliant.
He gets Pryor, I think, the wicketkeeper. Bang. Just rattles the stumps.
Yeah, who's victim number 3?
Stuart Broad.
Of course.
Everyone, you can't. Yeah, if you're not Australian, if you
Couldn't
don't-
happen to a
that's
nicer
on
twat.
That's on the citizenship test. Who was Peter Siddle's third victim in that hat trick? If you don't get it, you're not Australian.
And you know why he's a twat? It's because he
'Cause he doesn't
reviewed it.
fucking-
No, he reviewed it.
he did.
He did. So he delayed.
Of course he was going to fucking do
He
it.
thought, I'm gonna edge these guys. I'm gonna delay their gratification.
Parmesan Playboy. This is the same guy that fucking nicked a ball. I don't even say nicked. Nick doesn't do it justice. He fucking smacked a ball to first slip, and he stayed there like he was a fucking statue on the street corner. He never walks. He's a cheat of the game. Stuart Broad, but took a lot of wickets. Fuck it.
Yeah,
It was
whatever.
Dave Warner's bitch was the bitch of David Warner.
James Anderson.
Fuck
got more wickets. Whatever.
yeah.
Monty Panesar was cooler than him.
Loved him. You know, speaking on cricket, it's a good. It's actually a really good time
Yeah,
to
we'll
segue.
just bin the NRL contract talk.
We've had a solid
edit
discussion.
that part out.
Yeah. nothing gets left unsaid.
Cricket
It's all
season.
raw. Yes, this is a big season.
Pretty pumped.
For cricket fans.
I've never been more confident on a travelling India team because I look at their list and I'm just like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Oh, Kohli's there. Well, how old's he? Lol.
Well, this is
Who are you? 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 I don't want to make any grandiose statements, but we're going to fucking beat them 5-0.
5-0.
5-0.
I don't think we've ever beaten India 5-0. First time.
They're just... Mitchell Starc has been in hibernation all winter. He did have a cameo at the IPL, but...
He's going to come out like fucking Captain America with the serum. He's going to come out looking beefy and fucking exploding. He's such a scary bowler. He's got such an aura about him. 6'5", runs like a fucking buffalo, like just steams in. And that's the thing. And this is all tying into India's fucking dreadful series against New Zealand. Was that utter incompetence by India, or are we just underselling how good New Zealand are at cricket? That was good. 3-0 in India. Holy shit.
I feel like New Zealand, for as long as I've been watching cricket, they've had generational talent, but it's always like overlapping. It's never been grouped together at the same time. Like they had Daniel Vittori, right? And then just as he sort of started to... I mean, yeah, he played a bit of cricket with Ross Taylor, who's a gun. But like Kane Williamson... Okay, McCullum was there, but like
Guptill.
Kind of out of it. Guptill was sort of a bit of a late bloomer.
Yep.
I feel like they've never had a real team that
was capable of
piece it all together exactly.
Yeah, and that's so true, because if you look at the history of New Zealand in those major tournaments, they always found a way to come up short. They played really good cricket against some of the top tier nations. They built runs, but they were never able to finish off the job. They should have won it in 2019. Should have won the World Cup in 2019. That's a fact. That was bullshit. Absolute bullshit that year. Can you tell I hate the English? Can you fucking tell? I love it. Ben Stokes. The best Kiwi ever to play cricket.
Fuck.
But yeah, no, absolutely right. They're a team that they've had those generational individual talents, but they've never been able to piece a winning formula together. It's all just based off that individual brilliance, and the strategy just doesn't align with how the team works in general. I mean, it's managing games. It's a tough format, cricket, test cricket. It's fucking hard. And they've come to Australia recently. They came to Australia a few years ago and they got battered. They were smashed.
Yeah. And wasn't but like the last Ashes in Australia, that was abuse.
Oh,
it was proper abuse.
Fuck, dude. Like
the last South African tour.
Smacked them.
Abuse.
Pakistan. More abuse.
Yeah.
West Indies. Abuse and a half. Abuse adjacent.
But it was expected for them, you know.
You're right though. Like this India team is really nothing. Kohli is in some of the worst form of his career. He's starting to get a little bit old.
I think he's winding down.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really, really confident. I know there's a bit of what do we do at the top of the order?
Well, let's talk about that.
Let's.
All right. I'm going to give you some players. We're going to review some players who could potentially slot into that opening position. And this is going to be off a few key factors. This is, you're thinking about average. You're also thinking about if they're a left or right. Are they better with spin or pace? Are they reliable? Are they consistent? And
I'm going to save you the trouble. Michael Hussey all day, every day. Sorry.
Let's bring it back. He's my favorite cricketer of all time. I'll just say that. The names that are being thrown around at the moment, you've got all reliable Marcus Harris. We've got Matt Renshaw, Cameron Bancroft. We've also got Henry Hunt, Tim Ward, and Bryce Street. Now, there are a few of those names that you might not be familiar with, and that's because they haven't really engaged themselves in sort of junior grade international cricket.
Summer to shine, right?
Yeah, and Henry Hunt's this sort of young, he's an SA prospect. He's around 25, 26 years old. He's averaging, at the moment, 36? So he's reliable. His domestic performances are decent, but as an opener, I just don't think he has the... I don't think he's ready to be that guy for Australia yet. I think the option that is the right option, considering he has spent a good amount of time within the Australian team, Matt Renshaw. Form-wise, probably the best. We also saw some. We saw a lot. There was obviously Sam Constas. He's the new breed. He's quite young. Saw him in the Australia A game. Got a duck on debut. It's not a good start, but it's something that is plaguing the Aussies for a long time. There's Travis Head, an option. I think we know Steve Smith's not that guy anymore.
He shouldn't open.
No. So there's quite a lot of headaches now, and I do want to get your opinion on it. What do you think is the right way to go about this?
So, I think Marcus Harris is probably the favourite. He's not my pick. I'd go with Matt Renshaw. Been a big fan of his. Really, really liked the fact that he reminded me a lot of Matthew Hayden. I never want to see Cameron Bancroft in an Australian kit ever again.
After the disgrace of South Africa, what's the point?
I didn't think he was that good. I don't really like... Of all the options there, I just was like, why him? I know that at the time there was some, not WA bias, but a lot of WA guys in and around the team. So it made sense, but I would like us to look at maybe moving Head up with Usman.
Yeah.
Got Marnus and Smith, and then bolstering the middle order.
Travis Head. Cameron Green.
Head's done really, really well.
Yeah.
At his spot.
He's so reliable.
And he did really, really well in the IPL, and he's done really, really well internationally. But the way the game's evolving, Test cricket, and David Warner made a career out of this. If you've got a good enough team, which Australia do, and I believe we're the best nation on the planet, you can put a guy in your order, especially if you've got Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne, who can either get 100 or a duck, because you've got enough runs in you. And if maybe you come in, 50 under than what you would have liked, you've got the best bowling attack in the world.
Yep.
So I'd move Head up there as an experiment.
Yep.
And then I'd look at chucking one of these younger stallion type players into the middle order. My favourite player of last year's Big Bash was Jake Fraser-McGurk.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know if I'd have him in the Test team.
I don't think he's built for Test cricket yet.
And I don't know if I'd have him as an opener. But if you've got, you lose 3 or 4 wickets, maybe you're batting first, you're on a day one pitch that's only going to get worse. If you can get someone that can come out, you're 4 for 85, who can hit a quick 60, you might get...
who was someone like that for Australia about 10 or so years ago? Brad Haddon.
Yeah.
Brad Haddon, he was so... And that's
Gilly.
what... Yeah, Gilly. And I think the onus on wicket keepers being... Here's what I will say about the Australian team. It has been a long-standing sort of value for them that the next person along will get the job done. You are expected to get the job done. You were expected to be held under all sorts of pressure and deliver on whatever pitch, against whatever pace, against whatever spin, to get the job done. And that's been Australia's big point in the last 10 or so years. They've always had a player who was able to anchor an innings, whether that be a Mitch Marsh, whether that be an Alex Carey, whether that be a Brad Haddon, whether that be fucking whoever it is. It doesn't matter. Cameron Green. Shocking. Unfortunately, he's going to be out this year. Back injury, he's done. Which, huge blow, is he's fucking great. All-rounder.
Do we think Will Pucovski is ever going to play for Australia again? For or against?
Fuck, that is... No, that's a great shout.
For or against, because I'm all for it, baby. Well, I'd love to see him 100%. Obviously be healthy and, not have to... Concussion's no joke.
Well, you know who he made his debut against? India. 2021. I remember it. He got a half century. He was the guy. He was meant to be the next opener, and you're right. You can't take concussion lightly. This affects him because he emotionally.
He played Shield cricket last year, didn't he?
He did.
I don't know if it was consistent enough, but
he copped another head knock, and there were rumours that he was going to retire, and those were false. He said that's bullshit. So it's going to be a real. I think the next the next 6 months to a year for Will, I think are going to be the most emotionally strenuous times of his life, because then he's got to battle this dream, the pursuing. It's still there. It's in reach. It's just there's a lot of things that can get in the way, and it would cause a lot of head noise. And do you back out now? Have you gone too far? But wow,
I don't know. I'd love to see him play.
That's a great shout, man. Because you do forget that he was the guy.
Yeah, I'd have a spot. I know we have a rotation, or we've had a rotation policy previously, particularly in limited overs games with our bowlers and stuff, and even some of the squad. But like, we got 5 tests at home against India. Let's have some fun. Who are some prospects that we got? And I think the first game's in Perth, so I'm a huge fan of Aaron Hardy.
In the limited over cricket, he was fantastic the other day.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't work for everyone. Glenn Maxwell got his shot at Test cricket. But how many people, and now that the Big Bash is, really ramping it up and it's a pretty, proper thing. Like, I know players like Chris Lynn are never going to see Test cricket, but like a Matt Short, there's some absolute gun players that can bat an innings or can throw the bat. And I think the way cricket's evolving, you don't see 5-day games anymore, particularly in Australia. So do you adapt and go, okay, well, how can I have the most balanced team? Do I put Travis Head and Usman there? And then with Cameron Green out, do I have 5 and 6 be a Matt Short, a Tim David, an Aaron Hardy?
Do you substitute a quickie for another spinner? Someone that didn't really get their chance at Test level that I think would have been brilliant. Adam Zampa, the next Shane Warne. He's in the limited format of the game. He has been elite in the last 10 years. This is someone that is going to go down as one of the leading wicket takers in ODI. That's the thing that comes with, and they're the factors when thinking about the long term of the game. You want someone that's going to work with the pitch. Do you want someone, if there's a sort of a dry deck, there's got a little bit of bounce and turn to it, you get a really reliable off spinner, and that's what Nathan Lyon has been.
There's a difference.
There's Todd Murphy.
There's a difference between a really good limited overs spinner and a test spinner. Right?
Yeah.
If you're a test spinner, you got to bowl 30 overs in innings.
100%.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Nathan Lyon is probably a better test player than he is limited overs.
100%. He's built for the test. He's built for the format.
Most of the spinners that you see coming through, aside from India, who just seem to have an abundance of elite spinners, Rashid Khan.
You just look at the pitch conditions in India. It's built for spin.
Adam Zampa, Todd Murphy, Cameron Boyce, who has had a really good resurgence. He was at one point considered like a potential heir to Shane Warne. 100%.
Yeah. There were a few. There was Muirhead. Muirhead was touted as that. He never really got his chance.
Yeah. And you got a couple of good spinners at the Brisbane Heat, or previously. That played what's his name? Matthew Kuhneman.
There was what's his name? He's coming through the Gades. He was at the Gade system. Rock. Fuck. Don't know. His name's a little bit confusing. It's the Italian guy.
Oh, Rocchioli.
Rocchioli.
Yeah,
doing a bit of damage.
I felt he looked a bit out of place. I seen the first game I ever seen him play. I think he dropped like 5 catches and got hit for like 70.
It happens.
It was just bad. But
he also looks like, my friend told me he looked like a Thunderbirds puppet. No, I can't unsee that shit.
He looks like someone that should be playing for a bottom tier relegation battling Serie A team in Italy.
Yeah.
Think like a Genoa.
Yeah.
Or a Bologna. Or a Como.
Face of a failure.
Yeah. Well, just like, bro, like, I think
that there's a few out there. Ashton Agar, little left hand. You got your left hand off spinner.
For a long time, I was so salty that he got binned for Nathan Lyon because I thought his debut, we got 99.
Oh my god, probably one of the best debuts of all time.
I mean, Jesus.
I loved Ashton. He's gun. Still a gun.
He's brilliant. But yeah, I look at the team, and we've got and this is the thing when you've got like a Big Bash as sort of a platform here, because back when I grew up and I was watching cricket, like I've been a cricket fan for a long time, the Shield was like, it was important. T20 didn't exist. Your one-day tournaments, like they were on telly every summer. Like you could watch WA play Victoria if you wanted to.
I feel like now there's just a bit of an oversaturation with cricket.
It's not that you got T20 in the Big Bash.
Yeah, and look, you can see from past years the crowd statistics. It's gone down in the Big Bash. I feel like people are starting to lose faith with the game. I feel like there's just too much on. It's overcrowding schedules, and there's no gimmick to cricket anymore. It used to be about this Australian value, going out in the summer with your mates, beach cricket. It's become such a staple of Australian culture that I think we're turning away from like the professional aspect of the game now. That there's less enticing things about cricket, like going to the cricket with your mates. It just doesn't feel the same anymore. I went to the South Africa test a few years ago in Sydney. It just didn't feel the same. The attendance numbers were low. And I don't know if this is all rose-colored glasses that's affecting my viewing experiences. I remember it being so well, but you're right though. Everything was televised. You saw all the best players, all the big players were playing domestic cricket. So is it just because the game's trying to be a bit more international? We want to see the best of the best, and that's why we try to bring in players like Steve Smith into the Big Bash. And
it adapted, man, because whilst
cricket's
it's
an adaptive game,
international game, it needed 2020, right? And look, Test cricket is for purists or for people like
traditionalists,
people who want to watch a little bit during the day. They'll have it on in the background, whatever. For the big moments, like I remember, most of my family casually love cricket, right? A couple of us, like, we'll watch every Big Bash game. Like, I don't care if dinner's over.
Oh,
like,
fucking
it's
oath.
in there to watch the Big Bash.
I'll stay up for the late Perth games.
Last year, every single person in pretty much my entire family, we were all over watching the cricket, waiting for Nathan Lyon to get his 500th wicket. It's such a ingrained part of our culture, but because it also has a real high international presence, it needed to adapt and it needed to evolve. And so T20 came into play. The thing that I always look at now is, and there's some bias there, but if I watch someone on the Big Bash, I'll use Jake Fraser McGurk. He's my favourite player. Every time he's electrifying. Every time he's
exciting.
But you know what? I look at him, Luca, and I go, could I see that guy wearing the baggy green? And there's that pause, or there's that, I don't know. And that's because T20 has gone so far into the fun and the instant gratification and the 40 overs.
Becoming modernised cricket. It's becoming traditional cricket now.
How do you tell if someone's skillful enough to go in when you're 4 for 12 in the subcontinent and draw a test match, right?
It's
I don't
conundrum.
know if anyone in the Big Bash could do that.
No, and that's what we've done. You look at the Big Bash as like a precedent. They've set a standard for themselves of how modern cricket is played, and because we've developed into such sort of a fast-paced society now, we don't want to. It's hard to look at Test cricket from like a purist perspective.
Yeah.
Because I've grown up on Test cricket. We saw these great players come through: Warney, Ponting, Hussey, Langer, Gilchrist. That's Simo. Like they're my life. That was my life, man.
Gillespie,
the
double ton,
Brett Lee. Fuck. There's just, and then you're 100% right, and it's kind of almost like that. There's levels between like when you see a player playing club at NRL and Origin.
Yeah.
Completely different ball game. You think, can I see them? You know, you're right. Going over to the subcontinent.
Hot Sauce.
The other conditions.
Hot Sauce, the other member of the Australian Sporting Cartel. He's like, fucking for so long, he's like, Jared Croker should have played for the Blues. I'm like, ugh, no. Like, sometimes you just
can't see it.
You label players that way. And I just feel like the Big Bash it's hard to tell. Like, Will Sutherland is another great up-and-coming young player who's got a bright future. Is he going to play Test cricket for Australia? I don't know.
Fergus O'Neill, Lance Morris,
100%. Wild thing.
Love the Lance. They should have given him a shot because, and this was another question that I wanted to pose to you. Now that the Stallions of yesteryear all the big four, we call them the big four. You got Hazelwood, Cummins, Stark, Lyon. Now they're starting to get a little bit older. The bodies, they just can't be as explosive anymore, especially on the paces. So who are the young guys coming through to take over the throne? Who are the future leaders of that bowling attack? You want someone that's a good, reliable spinner that can work well in any condition, that can turn the ball, that has a lot of variation. And then you need your quicks. Who are the next quicks?
He'd be the first name down if he was still able to play at a high level, and that's Scotty Boland. I think he's so unlucky because he...
Understatement of the century.
To me, he's the closest I've seen. I know there's a lot of comparison with Hazelwood to Glenn McGrath, but I think what Scott Boland could do with a cricket ball was the closest thing I've seen to Glenn McGrath since Glenn McGrath.
What Scott Boland was... Sorry to cut you off. What Scott Boland was able to do so well was he was able to be so deceptive about where he would bowl that it would just be impossible to read and play. He would always, same line.
He single-handedly killed the Queen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Took it 9 months, but what he did to that team, man, she just...
Oh my God.
She just was like, the Ashes are just, I'm never going to see him again.
It was fucked. And that, you're so right. He was so good, but he was just stuck in that era of dominance from those Australian bowlers. Like, you were never getting into that team. Like, he got his opportunity. He did, thanks to COVID. And he fucking shone. He was so good. And that's the repertoire. That's the standard of the prime elite Australian fast bowler. That's what we have. We have so many there waiting. Like, there's a kid that came through the Brisbane Heat system, Vidler. I think his name was Vidler. But he's like 18, bowling 140. Like, fucking hell, man.
My three pacemen, Lance Morris.
Got to be the wild thing.
Spencer Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Long levers Johnson.
Xavier Doherty.
Yeah,
from the Heat.
I'm pretty sure he's like 38 now.
No. Bro, Google that shit.
Xavier Doherty? Fuck.
No, sorry. What? Xavier Johnson.
Oh.
Not Doherty.
Yeah, I was thinking...
Who's the guy that plays in the Big Bash for the Heat now? His name's Xavier. Bartlett.
Yeah. Okay, I was so confused. I thought you were talking about the spinner, the left arm ortho.
No.
Xavier Doherty. Yeah, that's why I was confused.
No.
I was like, fuck, you're going to give Doherty a recall.
No, Bartlett. I think he's got a real good shot. I'm Fergus O'Neill from...
Yes. Bartlett had a great series in the one-day internationals against West Indies this year. He was fantastic.
But I think too, like Cummins will probably be long. Stark might be on the way out. I feel like Lance Morris is an easy switch for Starkey.
Yeah.
I think Boland is probably
he'll get a couple of chances, I think. Just to before the end of his career. He surely does.
But Cummins has still got enough life in him that I don't think you need to revamp the entire attack. And then in terms of spin, man, take your pick. Like whoever you throw into the test arena.
Murphy, Cooney.
Like whoever could do good there, just put him there. I don't give a shit. Like,
you just need one reliable spinner.
That's exactly what happened to Nathan Lyon. He wasn't, Nathan Horrocks was the guy, and then there was...
we had Michael Beer.
Jason Frazier. Jason Frazier took 8 wickets in India, and it was like you put him on a milk cart and he was never seen again. Like,
he vanished off the face of the earth.
So, there's a lot of good to look into, and I'm really excited about the Big Bash this year because who's going to deliver again? Who's going to make the most? Like Josh Brown for the Heat at the Open. Like, man, I
can't wait till he's got to slot into the Australia T20 squad against Pakistan. He has to.
Surely.
Fucking hell, man. He was so integral to the Brisbane Heat winning last year.
He's brilliant.
That was fantastic. The whole Brisbane Heat.
Did he hit 147 or something?
Yeah.
Against, was it the...
Perth? Don't remember.
I think it was either Sydney?
Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
It was against Sydney in the qualifier, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But fucking hell, like, insane.
He fucked on hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Australian cricket's in really good hands. I think it's just, how do we ensure that everyone gets a spot? Because, like, for every golden generation, there's people that missed out.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you go, oh, what could have been?
Cricket is such a tough game to compete at professionally. Oh, my God.
Like Stuart McGill is a prime example. I think if he represented any other nation in world cricket, he's probably got the
up there.
same
Yeah.
opportunities as Warney, right?
Whack on a black cap.
Yeah.
Bang, done. He's their spinner.
Yeah. England. Imagine if Stuart McGill. McGill's an English name, and he looks like an Englishman. And
Well, that's what British love do. They love to take players from foreign countries. And
are you
their
referencing
own.
the kidnapping
Gavin
that happened with
Peterson.
Stuart McGill a few years ago? Because if so, that was a fantastic joke. A fantastic attempt at humour.
It would have been if I'd meant it.
All good.
I didn't. But no, you're right. We've got such a great summer of cricket to look forward to. So can't wait to go out, crack a beer. I'm definitely going to go to the test. If any little cartellers are out there that want to come and have a beer with us at the SCG, come find us.
Fuck yeah.
We'll be there.
You don't know what we look like, but that's all right.
You'll find out.
Before we wrap it up, one just quick fire. Who's going to have a breakout summer for the Australian cricket team?
In test or any
All
format?
of the above.
Nathan McSweeney.
Okay.
I'm going Nathan McSweeney. He in the Australia A versus India A game, the first test, he was brilliant. He notched up, I think, I'm just going to get the stats up. I think he got 39 and 88, which is fucking impressive. And that was it. And that was on a really flat deck. It was very much a bowler's paradise. And he managed to maintain and anchor that innings. Comes in at round 6. And he's shown real promise. Showed real promise in the Big Bash as well. So I think if anyone is going to break out, I think it's got to be the Sween dog. I'm backing the Sween. Either that, or you could even say Jake Fraser McGurk. But look, both fantastic options. I know you love Berserk.
Yeah.
He's a fucking gun. Great fielder as well.
Yeah, he's a gun.
So yeah. What about you? Who's going to break out?
Fraser McGurk.
There you go.
I would have said like his breakout was last summer.
Last summer, yeah.
So I don't know if that qualifies. I'm going to say my breakout player is someone that we have no idea who they are just yet, which is the awesome part about a
mystery.
breakout summer. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I'm going to say, in 6 months' time when we're going how great of a summer of cricket it was, we're going to be talking about the new best player.
I can't wait. Yeah, it's all a mystery. That's what it's all about. It's not about putting pressure on anyone. It's not about analysing key features in a game. It's all about just waiting and seeing who can stand up when it matters the most. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. Thank you all for listening today. You can join us on Instagram. You can join us on Spotify podcasts and join us on TikTok as well. We're on all social platforms. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave a comment, leave a like, and just give us your general thoughts about whatever's going on in the world of sport. That's why we're here. Anyway, this is the Lux Mango and the Parmigiana Playboy signing out today. Catch you guys later.